Hi, and welcome to this live reading from Until There Was You by G. Colgrove, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Chapter 1 Reagan. By definition, reincarnation is the rebirth of a soul into a new body. Back in junior high, I went through a dark phase where I tried to figure out the meaning of life. How did we end up here, and what is the point of it all? That wormhole led me down some interesting roads. Out of all the different articles and theories that I read, there was one that resonated with me more than any other. Karma. The idea that a person will continue to carry everything good and bad that they did from life to life made me come to a realization. First, karma must not have an expiration date. And second, I must have been pretty fucked up in the past to deserve the cards I had been dealt this time. Sitting in the middle of my crappy high school gym, I fidget with a string on my graduation gown. There are a little over 60 of us sitting on fold-out chairs facing the makeshift stage that has no doubt been around since the day this school first opened. On either side, they've pulled out the bleachers so that our family and friends can sit and watch the ceremony. As I listen to our valedictorians speak, I glance around the room searching for my family. It doesn't come as a surprise to me that they aren't here. My brother Shane would never show up to something like this. He's too busy living the stereotypical Southeast thug life to be bothered, and my mother, well, I had held out hope, thinking maybe she might show. After all, I am the first person in the family ever to graduate high school. But considering it's only 9 in the morning, she's probably still passed out from the night before. Or worse, she's awake, but still drunk, and doesn't remember what day it is. The only saving grace about being from this part of town is that the majority of us know each other and have for many years, which in and of itself sounds all cute and quaint. How very small town of us. But sadly, it's not. We are simply a group of people bonded together because none of us have the ambition, courage, or balls to leave this shit hole. Just like our family that came before us. But right now, as I walk across the stage to be handed my diploma, I'm thankful to be part of this community. Instead of deafening silence when my name is called, there are actually some people cheering. And for a moment, I allow myself to feel proud of my accomplishment, even if no one else does. When the graduation ceremony wraps, I turn in my borrowed cap and gown and begin my walk to work. The entire 19 years of my life have taken place in a 6-block radius. The street I live on is one of the last of its kind. Gentrification has taken over and the Southies are pissed. The OGs have all put their feet down and refused to sell to developers. Stupid move if you ask me. If some snob in a suit handed me a check, I'd say thank you and leave all this behind without ever looking back, but we rent, so that'll never happen. The diner I work at sits on the cusp of new Southie and old. Somehow, Myrna has managed to adapt to the changing clientele and therefore isn't at risk of trying to be bought out. Yet, anyway. In the reflection of the windows, I can see the lot across the street has been bulldozed. A billboard that reads Stone Development Company stands tall behind the flimsy cyclone fence. That company has literally bought up every free inch of space there is over the past 4 months. Everyone has been talking about the mixed-use buildings that they are putting up. Hipster coffee shops and yoga studios will line the sidewalks, and above them will be stories upon stories of bougie apartments. Do they really expect that many people to move to this side of town willingly? With a shrug, I push open the diner's door and am instantly engulfed by the smell of coffee and bacon. The breakfast rush is over, but a few regulars still linger at the counter. Heading toward the back, Myrna is deep in conversation with one of the old-timers, but manages to give me a wink as I walk by her. Quickly, I punch my time card, wrap my apron around my waist, and head back out carrying a tray full of ketchup bottles. "Hey, everybody!" Myrna screams out, getting the attention of the entire room. "Here she is, Miss Fancy Pants, high school graduate, Southie's own Regan Doyle." When Myrna stops screaming, the handful of customers around us cheer, and a stream of congratulations ring out. She waits for me to put the tray down on the counter before she pulls me into a hug. "Congratulations, sweet girl." Myrna's words cause my heart to swell. Once upon a time, she and my mom used to be best friends. But when Myrna's parents died, she was forced to grow up and take over the diner or risk the chance of losing it. Over the years, she has tried many times to get my mom clean. Even offered to find a low-cost rehab that she would help pay for. But my mom is too far gone. When Myrna finally cut ties with my family, I was thankful to be the exception. This diner has been my sanctuary, a place where I spend most of my free time even before I was old enough to legally work. As for Myrna, well, she gave me the courage and confidence to dream of a life outside of Southie. Thank you, I managed to say without becoming emotional. Your mom? Myrna asks as she releases me from her arms. She must have forgot, I mumbled before catching the look of fury on Myrna's face. It's my fault I didn't remind her. My response is textbook for kids of addicts. We constantly make excuses. Without meeting Myrna's gaze, I throw my long blonde hair up into a messy bun and begin filling the ketchup bottles for the lunch rush. She makes a move to say something, but then stops. There is no point. We both know things will never change. To talk about it is simply a waste of breath. Instead, she pats me on the shoulder and goes back over to the customer to resume their conversation. The lunch rush goes off without a hitch. Waving goodbye to the two other waitresses, I begin the prep for dinner. It's a little after 3, and I'll be the only one here until the next shift arrives. During the next few hours, we'll be lucky to get even a single customer. It was during this downtime that I used to do my homework or study, but now I'm not sure what I'll do. Tomorrow I'll have to remember to bring a book. Hearing the door open, I look up to see Philip walk in with a bouquet of flowers. Our families live next door to each other, and despite him being closer in age to my brother than me, he's my best friend. Growing up, the two of us were inseparable. His home life sucks just about as much as mine does, so we constantly sought refuge with each other. He even lived with me for 6 months last year after he came out to his family. His dad beat the shit out of him and then kicked him out. Now he rents an apartment in a slightly better part of town and works at one of the local barbershops. I'm so sorry I wasn't able to get here sooner. My schedule today has been slammed, he says while reaching over the counter and pulling me into a hug. Here, I got you these until I can take you out for a proper celebration. You didn't have to bring me flowers, I smile while taking them in my hand. They are a mix of sunflowers and white daisies, my favorite. Reaching under the counter, I grab a water pitcher, fill it up, and place the flowers inside, arranging them so they look good. Philip waves off the comment and shrugs. It's nothing, so we're still on for this weekend, right? Jesse knows the bouncer, so you don't have to worry about showing identification. I don't know. What kind of club is this again? Philip has been dating Jesse for a few months. He's a club promoter, which is a grown-up way to say he hosts parties. He has a lot of connections all over Boston, and Philip has been greatly enjoying the new lifestyle. The kind you need a minimum of 6 figures in your checking account to get into. Great. So when I meet someone, what the hell am I supposed to talk to them about? My imaginary trust fund? Philip rolls his eyes and cups my face in his hands. Sweet Reagan, it doesn't matter if you have anything in common with the people there. Trust me, the rich guys don't go to these clubs to talk. In fact, they'll be doing everything they can to make sure your mouth is busy entertaining certain parts of their body so you can't actually speak. He lets out a laugh and I swat his hand away. Philip has always loved teasing me about things like this. My experience with love and sex is severely limited. None of the guys at my school ever interested me, and my best friend is gay, so he was ruled out early on. The one bad mark on my otherwise flawless record is Dustin. He's my brother's best friend, and he's been in love with me since I turned 16, maybe even before then. One night last summer, after a few drinks, I decided to be brave and allowed him to take my virginity. I woke up mortified, and he woke up planning our future. To this day, he still looks at me like I killed his puppy. I don't know how I'd let you talk me into all this shit. It's so far out of my comfort zone, I reply while wiping off the counter. That's the point, babe. You're too young to be so old. Before I can respond, the door opens and a group of men in suits walks in. At the front of the group is a younger man dressed in gray slacks and a light blue button-down shirt. The cuffs are unbuttoned and he has the sleeves rolled up, showing off his forearms, no doubt on account of the summer heat. As he moves closer to me, I can see his eyes are blue and wonder if he wore that shirt on purpose, knowing it would complement them. His dark brown hair is perfectly groomed and he has the slightest bit of stubble on his face. Even Philip mutters a damn under his breath at the sight of him. When he reaches the counter, he gives me a smile and I realize I'm not breathing. Taking in a deep breath, I compose myself before I speak. How can I help you? We need a table for 6 if you're open, he says as he casually looks around the empty restaurant. Yeah, we're open, yes. Oh my God, shoot me now. He gives me a big smile that shows off a dimple on each cheek. Anywhere you're comfortable is fine. He nods and turns back toward the men he's with. Well, that was smooth, Philip jokes. Don't you have to get back to work? I ask while grabbing 6 menus and ringing the bell, letting our cook know that customers have come in. Actually, I do. He pushes himself off the counter, then leans over to give me a kiss goodbye. Better wipe that drool off your mouth before you slip and fall on it, he warns before walking out the door laughing. Thankfully, I manage to hand off the menus and take their drink order without embarrassing myself any further. With the restaurant being so quiet, I'm able to hear every word of their conversation. They discuss the lot across the street and how it will differ from the other project sites currently in progress. So these are the men rebuilding Southie. I called it Snobs and Suits. They've been nice enough, though. They ordered items off the menu exactly as is, a rarity for the new crowd we have been getting, and they seemed pleased with the prompt service. Each and every time I had to go to their table, I made sure not to drool over the younger one. Not once did I let my eyes linger on him or watch the way the sleeve of his shirt would stretch to accommodate the large muscle underneath. Nope. Didn't notice. Can I get you any to-go boxes or drinks? I asked before dropping off the check. No thanks, sweetheart. One of the older men says, I'll take that check, though, if you have it. Giving him a smile, I pull the book from my apron pocket and hand it to him. I swear I feel eyes on me the entire time, but I force myself not to look in his direction. The man glances at the bill, then puts his credit card inside before handing it back. I'll bring this right back for you, I let him know before heading over to our register. Black American Express! Holy shit, I didn't even know these things really exist, and why is it so heavy? I run the card and then bring it back to the table. Thank you guys again, and I hope you enjoyed everything. This time I do meet his blue eyes, and I swear I feel the moment my heart plunges into my stomach as he smiles at me. Back behind the counter, I patiently wait for them to leave so I can clear off the table. If that is the type of guy who's going to be at the club this weekend, I'm not going. There's no need to get all dressed up to embarrass myself when I can do it here in my jeans and t-shirt. Finally, the door opens, and one of them tosses back a thank you before they all pile out. I wait a minute and then make my way to the table. The men are still standing in front of the window, so I grab the receipt book and place it in my apron without looking. One by one, I stack their dirty plates and bring them back to the table. Returning, I wipe down their table and return to my place behind the counter. Taking the book out of my pocket, I open it and see red. A $5 tip for an almost $90 bill. Even 10% would have been $9. Cheap assholes, I say louder than I meant to at the exact same time the door opens. When I see who it is, I close my eyes and curse myself silently. I was hoping to get back in here before you saw that. He smiles while making his way towards me. These old farts have more money than they know what to do with, yet are so scared to give any of it away. He reaches into his back pocket, pulls out his wallet, and removes a $50 bill. This was by far the best service I've received around here. Please. He motions for me to take the money. No, I can't accept that. It's too much. It's too much. Even if I wanted to take the money, I couldn't. Not after he heard me call him a cheap asshole. Trust me, the service was only good because you were the only table I had to worry about. Please, I insist. His blue eyes flash with humor, and the smile on his face is breathtaking. This man is nothing short of dangerous. Let me prove to you that not all of the invading suits are cheap pricks. I graze out to accept the money, and my fingers graze over his. This isn't necessary, but thank you. Jeremy, he says while holding his hand out to greet me. Reagan, I reply as I eagerly place my hand in his. Well, I'm sure I'll be seeing you. He lets go of me all too soon, and the only thing I can do is watch him walk away.